In this video, we will look at the socio-cultural adequacy of Shigeru Ban's housing project in Sri Lanka. The developer Philip Bay asked Shigeru Ban to design a prototype house that could be built cheaply, using local materials, and would be suitable for the tropical climate. The house was to form a template for the construction of around 100 replacement homes in the village of Kirinda. However, for Bay, this was no conventional post-disaster rehabilitation project. As he said so himself, this was not going to be a traditional disaster relief effort where we go in and make homes really fast and leave. I wanted to treat this like a development project. With this basic premise, let's now examine if indeed the project conceptualized by Philip Bay and Shigeru Ban has met the needs and requirements of its users, as well as the goals and ambitions that they themselves set out to achieve. Let us start with the idea behind the project. Rather than have a world-renowned Japanese architect design the project on his own, it was decided that in order to understand the social and cultural needs of the residents, a series of community meetings would be organized. Here, the design and mock-ups of the project would be shown to the residents to gather their opinions and feedback. As a result, at Kirinda, a number of town hall-style meetings were held where displaced inhabitants, local government officials, and religious leaders informed and guided the master plan. At the scale of the community, the foremost desire of the residents was to restore the original village layout and its focal point, the mosque. The main reason behind this decision was to re-establish a community feeling and avoid any form of community fragmentation. To align the expectations of the local community and goals of the agents involved in the rebuilding process, it was decided that the new houses would be built on the exact plots of their destroyed predecessors. This ensured that no one would be displaced by the redevelopment and that any social and economic networks that existed prior to the tsunami of 2004 would remain. Furthermore, to enable full participation both before and after construction, deeds and titles were drawn up for each of the inhabitants, allowing the community to engage more fully in the economy by using their homes as collateral for traditional loans. Beyond the scale of the master plan and at the scale of the houses themselves, we can also see a deliberate attempt to have the design respond to the social and cultural values of the community. One of the primary areas where we can find the architect's subtle understanding of the local cultural traditions is in the use of adaptable wooden screens to divide the rooms. This is particularly relevant in a context where one typically entertains guests and outsiders away from the more private areas for women and children. In an interview for the project, Shigeru Ban is quoted as saying, "This is the first time I've worked for the Muslim society. So before I built the houses, I had a community meeting to find out what has to be carefully done depending on the generation. For example, we had to separate the man's space and women's space." Another demand, both from the Urban Development Authority of the government of Sri Lanka as well as from the beneficiaries themselves, was to detach the kitchen and bathroom from the main living and sleeping areas of the house, as is typically the case in traditional homes in the region as well. Shigeru Ban took this aspect into consideration, but developed a design where the kitchen and bathroom are located within the house, but indeed separated from the living and sleeping areas with a central covered court. This central court functions as the heart of the house, providing not only additional living area, but also providing additional space for other activities in the house, such as cooking, sleeping, and storage of fishing equipment. But while the central covered court is perhaps what makes the design different from most low-cost housing projects that typically maximize on efficiency by designing housing as aggregated and closely packed units, it has not been met with universal approval. Several residents have indicated that they were not actively involved in the design of their houses and suggest they were simply presented with a design concept that did not take into account cultural aspects. Since the location of the bathrooms and kitchen entails a greater visibility of women within the house, which doesn't match with the Muslim culture. In fact, since many of the houses are arranged in parallel rows, these open courts are often visible from other homes, even further compromising privacy and resulting in several homeowners blocking off these open courts with brick and cement walls. These changes and appropriations by residents provide a window into understanding the strengths and weaknesses of the design. So while on one hand, one can state that the project has done well to respond to the tight timeline and economic constraints of a demanding reconstruction project like this, on the other hand, it can also be argued that the residents themselves, at times, have corrected the original design through small additions of walls, changes in facades, as well as interior layouts. All these changes and modifications point to the fact that housing design remains a complex challenge that needs to respond to several forces, not just budgetary and material constraints, but also climate and cultural sensitivities.